What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Underbuilt Garage. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. You might like what we got going on. As you can tell by the title of this video, this week we're going to change it up a little bit. I know it's not the Impala in here, but I've kind of had a little a fit, I guess you could say. This time of year, everybody gets it. The wintertime blues, seasonal depression, whatever you want to call it. I'll be honest with you guys. I am just not in the mood right now to be welding floors in a car. I don't know why, but it's the way I feel. So, this is a truck that I just picked up. I sold the S10. It's gone. I don't know. I wanted to do this kind of a project, so we're going to do this. I sold the S10 and picked this thing up. I got this truck really, really cheap. It is an '02 GMC, which is the better looking version between Chevy and GMC, I personally believe, but that part doesn't matter. It is a 5.3 truck, 4L60, two-wheel drive, extended cab, short bed. Everybody always builds the regular cab short beds. I'll be honest, I still really like the extended cab look. So, I've missed my S10 Blazer that was Turbo LS since I sold it, and that was way before YouTube days. Maybe I'll throw a picture of it up, or I think I might even have a video of it. It was a 10-second truck. It was really fun. Now, I'm not looking for a race truck here. I miss the turbo noises. The Falcon that we built over summer was probably the best time I've had in a long time. So, plan with this truck is, I still want to have a daily driver, which is no reason I can't. Turbo and AC, all of the amenities. I think a 600 horsepower to the wheel daily would be pretty awesome. Now, obviously, I know we're going to do a transmission, do this, do that, all of the above. I'm not scared of any of that. So, I think first things first, we got to work on the looks of this thing. I took a little B-roll of that. I'll throw it in here. This truck is not the cleanest thing in the world. It has rust on the bed sides, rust in the rockers, cab corners. The passenger fender has rust in it. It's an old truck, so we're gonna have to doctor up some things. But I figured this truck could also double as, I've never hung a quarter panel on a car. So the Impala needs quarters, bad. So I figured instead of wasting $1,200 worth of quarter panel on that car, when I want that car to look really nice, I could practice on this. Not that it'd be practice. I mean, I've done bodywork before. I went to school for it. It's been, I graduated in 2010. So every bit of 15 years ago, it's been the last time I've done bodywork. So might need a little refresher course. Figured, why not do it on this? And if we mess it up too bad, we'll just hang a whole bedside on it, then we can hide it. But either way, this truck is going to double as my get out of my wintertime funk, plus practice bodywork, plus turbo fun. I think that this is exactly what I need, mentally, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, once again, I'm sure you've seen by the title of this video, we're going to start with looks. In the bed, everything that just showed up today is everything, should be everything. Obviously, I haven't opened them yet. And I know how Amazon and everything else is this time of year. Should be everything to do a 4.6 drop on this truck. I love full-size trucks lowered. I always have. I think they look awesome. And the only difference between a 4.6 and a 5.7 is a 1-inch block in the rear, and we'll chop a little bit off the spring in the front. I mean, that's what we're going to do anyway. So, yeah, we're going to start with a 4.6 drop, and then if it's not low enough, we'll take her back apart, chop the spring a little more, put a 1-inch drop block in the rear to get it just a little bit lower. I'd rather not go too far right off the rip, because then we got to buy coils. So we'll do the 4.6, get this thing sitting down, see how it looks, and then we'll debate after that. Now, we do got to pull the bed off of this. I'm going to get a couple friends over to have them help me get this bed off real quick. We're going to do a C-notch in it, axle flip, all the above. So I'm going to get underneath this thing. I'm not going to show you pulling the bed bolts out. I mean, nobody wants to see that. I don't even want to do it. But we get the bed bolts out. We got to drop the fueler neck. And we get this bed off of here. And then I'll come back once all of that is off and we're ready to start doing the axle flip and start this C-notch. So let's get on it. I figured real quick before we take this bed off of here, let's get a few measurements. I don't know how well we'll be able to measure here on the back, or I think the other side's a little better. But let's get a couple measurements just to see what we're actually getting out of this. Let's see. On the front here, right next to the rust hole from the ground, in the center of the wheel, we're right at like 33.5 to the center of the rust. And then on the bed, this side, I think there's a little bit of wheel arch left. Yeah, we got a little bit here. We're gonna have to extend the old tape measure. See what we got. On the bed, right at 35.5. All right, I'm gonna crawl underneath this thing, get these bed bolts out of here, and then we'll get the bed off. Start chopping this frame up. Well, there's that. All of the bed bolts came out super easy. The guy I got this from said that he had just had the bed off not too long ago, so that made that a lot easier. I did a little digging. This here is our C-notch kit. It's actually a lot thicker than I figured it was going to be, considering where it came from. This is our flip kit for the axle. It did come with all the bolts to through bolt this. Now, I'm not only going to through bolt it. I don't trust that completely. So I'm going to through bolt it. Plus, I'm also going to weld around it. I might not do the whole thing, but at minimum, both of the ends are getting welded and probably most of the top. I might end up just going ahead and doing all of it just because I can. I got the welder here and it'll make me feel better. But I think first things first, we're going to jack this thing up, get it sitting on stands, and then we'll get the wheels off of it. And then it's literally drop the shocks, start taking the leaf spring bolts out of it. We might have to drop the tank out of it because this one bolt over here is real close. This bolt is going to have to be pushed into the tank, so we'll see. We'll see if we can't wiggle it around, because I'm not trying to unhook the brakes and the drive shaft and all that. If we can try to just weasel the axle around these, that'd be a lot better. So, but yeah, I'm gonna get this thing up on stands real quick, and then we'll get right to it. Just get these shocks, all that stuff off of here, and keep things moving. I'll be right back. All right, things were going great until we got to the typical northern rust belt problems. All of these, the leaf spring bolts came right out, except for this one up here by the gas tank. That thing is seized in there. I got a breaker bar on here, and I even put the jack underneath that thing and tried to get that thing out. It is not moving. I had watched a video from Lower Class Fab. He does a lot of lowering. He does air ride systems. He actually does some really cool stuff. So go check him out if you haven't, if you're into that stuff. But he did a kit on one of these trucks, and he was saying if you take this bolt, and you don't have to take it all the way out, but if you just push it in far enough to where it's past this lip, it lets this pivot enough to where you can just take the leaf spring, pick it up, and go under the axle and hang it right back up there. Well, that's not going to work on this side. It'll work over there. Hopefully, there's going to be just enough room to where once we get this out of here, maybe there'll be enough room we could pull this leaf spring over and maybe shove the rear end towards the passenger side and possibly get it above this. Hopefully, maybe. I don't know, though. We'll see. That's what I'm going to try. I don't want to... Obviously, I can't get that bolt out right now without dropping the tank, and I'm not dropping the gas tank on this, so Either way, it had some really cool coilover shocks in there. Not adjustable, but it still had coilovers. Next on the list, I got to get these bump stops out of here, both sides. And then as far as the U-bolts for the rear end, I'm just going to cut those. I ordered new ones. They're here, so I'm not even going to mess with them. If you live around here up in the north, you know that those usually don't come off either. So cut those, and then it's struggle and see if we can't get these leaf springs below the axle, and then just put it all back together. And then after I get the axle up here, the axle will be a lot closer to the frame rail, so to make it easier for me to mark my center line on here for laying out where I got to cut it and everything. So yep, cut these U-bolts, try and stretch these springs out and around this, see how that goes. So yeehaw. You know, I've cut a lot of U-bolts in my time, and every time they scare me. Every single time. I don't care how prepared you are for it. Those things make quite the bang when they come out of there. Knock this off of here. See if we can't get this one off. Easy as that. All right, in theory, this side we should be able to pick this up, just stick it right underneath there. I mean, I've seen it done online, it has to be true, right? Let's see. Just like that. That's awesome. Now I'm sure this is going to be a complete pain to get back in here, but we'll cross that bridge when we need to. We need to shove this rear end all the way over this way. See if we can't get that side. It's going to be a lot tougher over there because obviously it's not going to be that easy. Yeah, this side barely moves at all. So the rear end's gonna have to go way over there. Like I said, we got some wiggle room. I'm about to take these emergency brake cables off from the frame mount. Come on, work with me here. Man, that brake line is tight. We're almost there. We can get that to go just a little farther. Yep. Come on. We're right there. Did it. Nice. Pull this back over. So you can do it. Just take your these two hangers over here to hold your emergency brake cables. Take them off and you got her licked. I'm about to get these bump stops out of the way real quick. One. Don't need that while we're going. And two. Nice. See ya. Alright, let's see if we can't jack that axle back up and at least get it sitting on these leaf springs again. Maybe. Do at least one side at a time. Come on. 2. I just gotta line everything up. These have a pinion angle adjustment on them too. Let's keep that in mind. All right, I think maybe that I got it finally in there. The flip kit is what they're called. There's no instructions with this kit. That's what you get when you buy the cheap one off of eBay. But I had to figure out, there was the alignment pin in the flip kit is actually offset front versus back. Plus these also adjust pinion angle. So it just took me a second to flip them back and forth and figure out which way it wanted to be. At the end of the day, they can only fit one way just because. Anyways, now we're gonna just go ahead and bolt all this stuff together, and then I'm gonna jack it up from the rear end. We'll get the rest of the U-bolts go here. Rest of the leaf spring bolts in this thing, and I'll come back once it's time to start notching the frame out here. All right, next day. I stayed up last night and got this thing 90% back together. The only thing that still isn't on it is the shocks, and I got the weight of the truck sitting on the axle right now, and yeah, that's how low it is. So definitely glad I bought the notches. I kind of considered doing it without buying the notches, but obviously that would have been dumb. Anyways, what's next? We got shocks to throw on. I'm gonna hold these plates up here and mark this out where we need to cut it. I'll show you how I'm gonna do that, or we can figure it out together because I don't know yet. But anyways, just figured I'd show you guys. Everything's all tightened back up. I jacked it up first, got all the weight of the truck on the rear axle. Yes, I know the bed's not on there, but in all reality, it can't go down any farther to be able to tighten them up. So it is what it is, and I didn't want to try to do it with a bed on it. So the way the truck, at least the way the truck is on it, before I tighten them up. So I'm gonna get you guys set up on the tripod, and we're gonna figure out how to mark these plates out. Start cutting for those. All right. So what I think I'm gonna do to mark this, luckily for us, the previous owner fluid filmed this frame. So we're gonna be able. Hopefully, my plan is just, yeah, we're just gonna scribe right into it off of the edge of this. Really just line it up the best we can. And if you read online, a lot of people will say that this hole right here, there's a plug, this thing here that is in here. A lot of people say that's the center and that you should line this up with the center. Well, after you move the axle up this far, it actually kind of sets it back just a little bit farther because of the arc that it's on. So yeah, I don't think it would have completely mattered, but at the end of the day, it technically is not the center. So we're just going to eyeball this the best we can, the top of the frame. If it's not exactly right, we can trim it a little bit bigger, but we want to get it as close as we can. Just like that, we scratch it, then boom. I don't know if you guys will be able to see that. Right there is our cut line. I'm going to set this thing back on jack stands to let the axle down out of the way now that we know where this goes. And then I'm going to take a drill and drill the corners. You don't want to leave a sharp corner on a frame. It just adds a flex point, and sometimes it can crack a frame. So we're going to do that. I think I'm going to mark that side real quick too while the axle's up here. That way I don't have to do this twice. And then we're going to jack stands on the front of the frame and then let this down. Then we're going to put the jack underneath the trailer hitch and just support the back of the frame. I don't want to pick it up at all. I just want to put the jack under there enough to where when we cut this, the frame doesn't flex down right here in the center. That way we know it's still straight. I'm not going to put any weight on it, just enough to hold it from flexing. So I'm going to do all that, mark that side, and then we're going to cut this thing. No going back now. All right, well, that took way longer than expected. I got home from work roughly 3:30-ish. It is now 7:06. Anyways, yeah, these are done. I went ahead and did the other side first before I tackled this side. They didn't turn out too bad. I welded the top and both the front and the back sides on both sides there. So the only thing that I got left to do back here now is put the new shocks on and put the tires back on this thing. And I do believe the back of this thing will be done, as far as I know. That's pretty exciting, honestly. But anyways, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do now. Holy crap, it is so far above the frame. Before, they was almost even. That's funny. One down. Mint. Look how high up above the frame this is. That's awesome. Let's pull these jack stands and let this thing down. Going down. Yes. That's what we needed. That's awesome. Oh yeah, we still gotta put the shocks on back here. This is exciting. It is so low. Let's put some shocks on this thing. Well, as far as shocks, I ordered these off of Max Beating Rods. They are just a 5 to 7 inch drop shock. So they should work, because right now we're only down 6 inches. Should work. Ooh, we get a fancy little book. Ooh, and a sticker. Nice. Shut this before I hurt myself. Alright, let's just tackle one right now. Ooh, fancy. Alright, there's shock bolts. Hopefully these will go low enough. They're supposed to just bolt on and work. Nice. Mint. Let's see though, does it have the travel that we're gonna need? Oh yeah, mint. Let me get this other one in here real quick. Mint. All right, and with that, the back of this thing, minus the bed, should be done. Should we give it our little bounce? Oh yeah. Nice. All right, well, let's switch our attention up to the front, because we are done other than the bed back here. Nice. Once that cools down the rest of the way, I'm going to throw some paint on these just to help it out or whatever. But yeah, the back is done. Now we get to go do the not so fun part. We got to take the spindles apart and anyways, I'll meet you up there. Alright guys, it is now 2 days later. I spent yesterday, I got everything cleaned up and got this thing up on stands in the front. Got everything tore apart. On the one side, I wanted to do one side off camera, and that way I knew what I was getting into. And well, I kind of hit a snag. I spent probably 3 to 4 hours yesterday getting the driver's side done. I had another issue. I broke down on the way home from work in my Duramax. But anyways, that doesn't matter. I got this side all back together, and then I went to put the factory wheel back on it. And the research that I had done, thought that I had figured out that with a 2-inch drop spindle, which is what I have for the front, you were able to run a 17-inch wheel, which is what was on this truck from factory. Well, come to find out, I put this wheel back on, and I don't know if you'll be able to tell or not. Oh, yeah, you can tell. It is leaned in at the top. That's because that wheel is actually hitting the lower ball joint. I even went as far as to cut off everything that was hanging out past the nut, and it still didn't clear. So I spent the rest of the night yesterday, after I figured that out, trying to find a set of wheels to put on this truck. Now, I had planned on changing the wheels, and I had a pretty good idea of what I want, and I still do. But unfortunately, there's nothing available right now for what I wanted, if that makes sense. So I kind of had to settle. I'll show you the wheels here later. I did go today right after work and buy a set of wheels for this thing to be able to clear the ball joints. Like I said, I thought that I had read somewhere that a 17 would clear a 2-inch drop spindle. I don't know. Apparently I was wrong. So, because I was going to save getting a set of wheels for another video, but you're going to get it in this one. So, but anyways, this thing is still on stands, and I still need to do this last side. All right, I'm going to try not to bore you guys too much with this. I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of what I'm doing as I'm doing it. The only thing I've done so far was take this little 10 mil out of the brake hose retainer. After that, I'm going to get this brake caliper off of here. There's just 2 big bolts on the back of it. We'll snap that off of there real quick. Before we pull this off, we need to untangle our 2 cords here. Cords. One's a hose and the other one's electrical plug. The one side is just the ABS. Just unclip it from all these. There's the last one. Gets that out of the way. Oh. Then we take our rotor, get it out of the way. You just take an 18, put it on your tie rod here. Take that off. Then I just take my small hammer, small, and we're just going to hit the spindle where the tie rod end goes through it, and that should shock it enough where this would just come out. You see that? Comes right out. We're gonna have to cut that link. Just like that. Now we can get our tie rod out of the way. That bushing's junk. 3 nuts on the back side here, or 3 bolts. I'll hit it a couple times. Huh, no way! That was not even close to happening on the other side. I spent every bit of an hour getting that out of there. I had to heat the spindle up here and here on the thinner parts to even get that thing out of there. Okay, so next, I want to get this. I want to get the shock out of here. There's just 1 bolt on the top here, and then 2 on the bottom underneath. I got one of them out, and the other one snapped off. And I'm just going to cut the top. Ta-da! And then this should slide right out the bottom. Like I said, I'm going to loosen this. I'm not going to take it all the way off. And then we're going to smack this, get this upper one to separate. And we should be able to get both of them to separate. Alright, now you got that top one loosened. I like to leave it to where it's still all the way on the threads. And then we're just going to smack this right here, just like we did on that. Boom. 3 hits, just like that. That one's loose. Boom. Apparently, right there was the answer. And a little bit of down pressure. I don't know. Alright, so now we have a loaded gun here is what we have. The jack's holding up the lower control arm, which is holding that coil in there. So what I'm going to do, we take the spindle off, take upper and lower ball joints. That was get this out of the way, and then I'm going to go stand in front of the truck and let that jack down. That way this spring does not come out and hit me, mock Jesus. So, and we should be able to just, yep. There goes that. So we're going to cut this. What you do is you just go straight across from here, and that gets you 2 inches. So your 2 inches here and your 2 inches in your drop spindle get you your 4 in the front, and then the flip kit in the rear gets you your 6. So I'm just going to take my cutoff wheel and a grinder, go straight across from here, cut that thing off, then we're going to slap it back in here, new spindle, all this goes back together. I got to cut the rest of this sway bar link off of here, and then the lowering kit will be done. Oh, we still get this one broke off shock bolt out of here too, which that won't be too bad. I'll cut this, get the torches fired up, we'll get that stud out of there. The other side, all I did was I heated up the nut in here with the torch till it got red hot, and I just took a pair of vice grips and I unscrewed that stud out this way instead of that way. Came right out, no big deal. So I'm gonna do these 2 things off camera, get that bolt out, cut this, and then I'll come back when it's time to just throw all this stuff back together. Easy as that. I don't know why they come out so easy with heat, but they just snap off without heat. I don't know. Either way, the sway bar link's cut off. This is out, which is a plus. Coil. I went ahead and got the coil cut. This is all I cut off of it, a half round. That's it. Cut that off. Oh, it was actually went this way. But either way, just halfway around. That's it. Now, we just put everything right back together. New shock, same as the rear. I got max speeding rods, shocks. I got a whole set of 4. These are for the lower. Those are for lowering your truck. These are the spindle. This hole is literally just 2 inches farther up, and it spaces up the upper control arm. Your lower control arm stays the same normally, unless you put a shorter coil in it. Then the whole thing comes up 2 inches, then this moves up 2 inches, and then you get your 4. So now we get to fight the spring back in first, get the jack underneath of it, and get it back up in there. Then we'll do the shock. Once the shock's in, that'll hold everything. Then we'll do the spindle. So let's just start suffering, I guess. All right, when you're putting this back together, you want to, the end of your coil here, how it just comes out by itself, there's actually a pocket in your lower control arm. You want to line that up in there as best as you can. You might not get it perfect the first time, but you do want it as good as you can get it. On the other side, I just pushed on this and it went right in there just like that. And right now is the time to get that lined up. You can spin it, move it, do whatever you need to do. I know that's sketchy. Yes, I agree. But let's get this shock in here real quick. Now, once you got this in here, just like this can no longer explode and hurt you. The shock will hold that from coming apart. Now we can let this down, and it's not gonna completely hurt us. Then we just go for our spindle. Yeah. All right. Now, don't be like me. This here is the top bolt for the hub. I just had to take this back apart, just the upper ball joint, because you got to put this bolt in before, because it runs right into the ball joint. So be prepared if you're watching this as a how-to. Put that top bolt in before you put the upper ball joint in. Caliper back on. All right, then we just got our tie rod. That's done. Then we just got our hose and our brake cable here, and we'll be in there. Then our ABS line, plug it back into us, and we are done. I'm gonna get sway bar links later on. I'm not too worried about those right now. But that's it. We'll get a wheel, throw the wheel on here, and then this truck is lowered. Put the bed back on it, and change out the rear wheels as well. This thing is back to driver status. So let me go get a wheel, and I guess we'll reveal it to you guys what the wheels are. Well, here we are. They are 22s. They're just a factory GM takeoff. I'm not exactly sure what these would have came on. The guy that I got them from said that he bought them and put on his wife's Tahoe, is what he had them on. She didn't really care for the ride quality of them, so he had to take them off because she's the boss, as usual. So I picked them up. I got all 4 of them with decent tires for $400. It's a hard deal to beat. Yeah, they need cleaned up. They're definitely dirty, but these are going to clear our ball joints, and they're actually going to look pretty cool on here once this thing gets down on the ground and this wheel lips closer to there. I think they'll look really good. So let me get these on here, and we'll get this thing on the ground. Take a peek at her. All right, so let's take this thing out. Just got everything back together. I will say though, I'm gonna have to take the front mud flaps off because they're dragging the ground. I did not see that being an issue, but just pulling up my driveway here, the hump at the top, the mud flaps are dragging the ground. So anyways, let's go see what this thing rides like. I'm pretty excited. It looks awesome. I got the bed, everything's all back together. I'm just gonna go for a little drive, and then we'll see what, yeah, the mud flaps are just dragging. We'll see how this thing does, and then I am gonna go to the car wash, get this thing cleaned up, because it is, without a doubt, extremely dirty. It needed a wash when I first got it. I just never took it and got a wash done on it. So yeah, I'm just gonna drive this thing around, see how it rides. So far, awesome. But yeah, we're gonna end up at the car wash, and then we're gonna go take this thing out to the spot, get some footage of it so you guys can actually see what it looks like. But I'll let you know if anything exciting happens. So far, nothing but awesomeness. Got some railroad tracks right here. Like a brand new truck. That's awesome. Well guys, other than the mud flaps dragging, I might have to roll the front fenders a little bit. They do rub a tiny bit when you're about half turned, and say you turn up a hill a little bit, they do rub a little bit. But other than that, this thing is pretty much dialed. I got to get the sway bar links in. Other than that, this thing is just ready to drive and enjoy. I am super excited for it. This thing is pretty sweet. I love it. I'm gonna get some video of the outside of it for you guys, that way you guys can see what's going on with it. But yeah, other than that, let's check her out. You guys will have to let me know what you guys think of it. Other than a little bit of rust repair, this thing looks nice. Unfortunately though, painting it, it's probably not going to be a thing, just because this has the typical Chevy white and it's peeling off everywhere. So you would have to literally strip the entire truck down to nothing and start over. We might do it one day, I don't know. But we definitely are going to fix the rust. Like I was saying in the beginning of the video, I do want to practice on the bedsides for when I have to do the Impala. I'm not scared of doing it. I don't think I'll do a bad job. It's just I haven't done it in so long. I'd rather mess this thing up than the Impala. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really starting to like this truck, so it might have to stay around for a little while. Oh, we got to get different mirrors, too. The mirrors on this thing, pff, terrible. The worst mirrors I think GM ever made for these trucks, other than the ones that kind of resemble this, but it's an automatic tow mirror. It has a weird... Anyways, enough rambling. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think about this thing. I'm enjoying it. Next up for it, I don't know. Guess it depends on what I feel like ordering. I do want to put a cam in it. Like I said, all the rust stuff. Window tint, eventually. I probably won't show you guys that again. I've done it twice already on the channel, I think. Or maybe it was once. I don't know. Either way, I feel like we just did it on the S10. I don't know if I want to probably make you guys sit through it again. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you want to see me do with it next. And I think that's going to do it for this video. I do appreciate each and every one of you guys watching, subscribing. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. And as always, I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.